Many of professional cycling's most iconic and memorable moments have come on the climbs and in the mountains. And so we thought we'd go through some of the most memorable climbs of 2019.
Yeah, and these are in no particular order. And as always, we love your input, so feel free to put them in the comments section below. Have you got a favourite moment of 2019, even if it didn't result in a victory, but you still feel it deserves a little bit of love? We'll start though at La Fleche Milan and we'll double up here with both winners.
We will. The Mur de Huy has got to be one of the most iconic finishes in the world of professional cycling. It's a short climb, but it's quite sweet, isn't it, in terms of the fact the max gradient is 26%. Despite being short, we've seen so many riders go way too hard, way too early on the Mur de Huy and get caught in sight of the line.
Yeah, well, Evander Boer went on the penultimate climb. Fleche Milan of Team Sunweb came in to the Mur in the lead, but the world champion timed it to absolute perfection and coming home ahead of Annemiek van Vleuten for her 5th and record-breaking consecutive victory.
Yeah, almost as dominant in the men's race has been Alejandro Valverde until recently, starting to relinquish his control a little bit. This year, the first big name to make his move on the final climb was Jakob Fuglsang, but Julian Alaphilippe got straight up to the wheel of the Dane, took as much respite as you can on those sorts of gradients before accelerating past him to take his 2nd victory at the race.
When Primož Roglic took his opening time trial stage of the Giro d'Italia at the San Luca di Madonna, we kind of all sat up and take notice. When he came back a few months later for the Giro dell'Emilia, his devastating attack there to win that autumn classic was something really special.
It really was, and not only did he take his first big one-day win there, quite convincingly ahead of Michael Woods, he also, according to climbingrecords.com, set the record time up the climb, 4 seconds quicker than Vincenzo Nibali 2 years ago.
There was a huge amount of anticipation going into this year's Giro Rossa Stage 5 from Ponte in Valtellina to Lago di Canciano. Where would Annemiek van Vleuten attack? In the end, we needn't have worried because she went from the bottom of the climb.
Never to be seen again. She took the stage win, didn't she? And so soul-destroying was that performance for the fellow competitors there that she earned herself a new nickname, courtesy of Elisa Longo Borghini, who dubbed her the Alien. Thankfully, Annemiek took that in good humour.
The finale of the Kendall stage of the Tour of Britain, it's a great little climb. It's steep in sections, I know, because I rode up it. But again, it shows that a climb and a finish doesn't have to be a mountain to be impressive or decisive. There was a breakaway and they properly faffed around coming into the final climb. And when Mathieu van der Poel went, he went long and at warp speed.
He did, and he put so much power through the pedals that in the space of a few hundred metres, he put 3 seconds into everybody else in the field. With that, he took not only the stage, but also the leader's jersey. What I love though, is just seeing how exhausted he is after the stage. Just go to show you how much he can turn himself inside out to take a victory.
And then, he did it again to Burton Dasset Country Park. Now this climb, it's only 1.6 kilometres in length. It averages 5%, but it peaks at 15%.
Which was perfect for Van der Poel, who took another stage victory. Trentin was ready for him this time, wasn't he? But he still couldn't get past Van der Poel before the finish line. And what I loved was the gesture of respect from Trentin to Van der Poel after the finish, which really sealed what was quite a special moment.
Yeah. Right, continuing with the short, sharp climb theme, was what was a fairly trivial climb that came towards the end of each lap of La Course, but also at the end of the Tour de France time trial stage later that day.
It did. In the women's road race, Mariana Voss flew up that final climb in what can only be described as a full-on sprint. She caught longtime lone leader Amanda Spratt near the foot of it and effectively made the rest of the peloton look like amateurs as she powered over the top to take the win.
Julian Alaphilippe's finish in the time trial was similarly as impressive. We'd all been guesstimating as to how much time he might lose on that day. In the end, it would be 0. He won the stage and romped up that climb with more panache than I think a time trial biker's ever seen.
I absolutely love it when you see a Tour de France winner still winning races well into the autumn. And you've got to say that the presence of Egon Bernal at races like the Gran Piemonte, which is part of a late season Italian calendar that's undergoing somewhat of a renaissance, is doing wonders for these historical races, which is great to see.
It is. Now the climb to Santoro di Europa in Gran Piemonte, it's over 10 kilometres in length, averages about 6%, and after some impressive work by his Ineos teammates to deliver him into that climb, Egan Bernal was making no mistakes. He went long and he soloed to the summit.
It was very impressive, wasn't it? And you've got to say that watching an in-form Bernal going up a climb is just like watching poetry in motion.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. The riders from Jumbo-Visma had done a phenomenal job to deliver Primož Roglič to his first Grand Tour success. American Sepkus had ridden his heart out for the Slovenian, but he made the breakaway on stage 15 of the Spanish Tour.
He did, and once it was clear that Roglič was fine behind, the team gave him his freedom to ride his own stage, and he didn't need to be told twice, did he? He took the 17% gradients on the finishing climb in his stride, high-fived the crowd towards the finish line to take his first win away from US soil.
Now, one of the most impressive riders of 2019, especially after his ride at the Vuelta, is Tadej Pogačar. Now, his third and final stage victory of his first Grand Tour on the penultimate day of the race just had to make the list.
And it wasn't even just one climb, was it? It was two, because he attacked on the penultimate climb of the day, decimating the field behind, and by the time he got to 1 kilometre to go, he still had a minute and a half in hand. He of course took his third and final stage win there and had also done enough to put himself back into the white jersey as best young rider and also get himself a place on the final podium. And I'd like to make quite a bold prediction now, Marty.
Go on.
I reckon that lad might win a Grand Tour in the future.
I think you might be right there. Remember stage 19 of the Tour de France, Julian Alaphilippe still in yellow, the hopes and dreams of a home nation still alive. Egan Bernal though, he was the dream crusher on a day where Mother Nature also played her part. Geraint Thomas, his teammate, had attacked. Alaphilippe was dropped and Bernal, the Ineos man, crested the summit over 2 minutes ahead.
However, we had seen Alaphilippe close some very impressive gaps on descents in previous days, and we were asking ourselves, could he do the same thing again? We'd never find out, would we? Because Mother Nature did play her part, and some freak weather led to some landslides, and ultimately the times being taken from the top of the Iseran. Nevertheless, that was yet another demonstration on how to climb by Egon Bernal.
Right. My final one is another Giro Rossa one, stage 9, and this time it didn't quite go Annemiek van Vleuten's way. In fact, it almost came unstuck for her. She had tried to set up her teammate Amanda Spratt on the lowest slopes. She then attacked into the steepest section of the climb, only for Anna van der Breggen to ride a really steady metronomic tempo. She came back to her, caught her in sight of the line and went past to take a stage victory. It was one of my favourites of the entire race.
And that must have felt like payback for Van der Breggen, mustn't it? Because she'd been caught within sight of the finish line at La Course last year by Van Vleuten.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. So those are our favourites and most memorable climbs of 2019. I'm sure there's others, so of course, let us know yours in the comments section below.
Yeah, no doubt we've missed out a few very key ones as ever. If you've enjoyed this video though, please be so kind as to click on the thumbs up icon, which you can find just down below. And don't forget that over on GCN Racing, most weekends this winter are filled with live action from cyclocross events, so head over there if you haven't done so already.
Yeah, and if you'd like something else to watch, you can find out 10 weird things that pro cyclists do by clicking on the link, which is just up here.